Hello, friends and followers, for the new followers, for those who have never seen my videos, my name is Monteiro and I am Portuguese. I had chronicurticaria for almost 3 years and I have been cured in 2014 by the traditional Chinese medicine, the year from which I started to study the Chinese medicine and guiding people with urticaria in their healing journey. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you can be informed whenever I post new videos. I started by being a self-taught person who studied everything there is about urticaria in both medicines to cure myself, because I didn't have a clue on how could I get rid of urticaria and getting back to my normal life. So what I started to do was giving my opinion to people that have urticaria and suffer with it. I know what that is because I suffered a lot. And giving my opinion if they want to get rid of that, getting cured of urticaria and getting their lives back again. So fortunately, since 2014, hundreds of people have been cured with my guidance and mentorship. Later, I officially completed the course of diagnosis by the traditional Chinese medicine, so I cannot be considered anymore self-taught. This is the 13th video in English. In the previous video, I presented a table of yin and yang and neutral foods. As I announced in this previous video, I will explain why it takes an average of 3 to 5 years for the body to enter on emergency situation of chronic lack of water. It is an emergency condition for the brain, and it has a system of compensation. This system of compensation for emergency of chronic low water, is what causes in all types of chronic urticarias. It's what causes the mast cell degranulations. People might think that there are other causes that can create mast cell degranulations, but the view of traditional Chinese medicine is that all the other causes, because on the conventional medicine there are thousands of reasons for the mast cells to degranulate, and we agree with that. I also agree with that, but what goes is that in our view all those conditions, they all finish, they end on the same junction, which is causing an excess of heat and lowering water, creating after a long time this emergent system to start to act and start compensating. As I said in my fourth video number 4, the emptying is a process that develops gradually to a point where the person runs out of reserves. The person loses the ability to relax, to slow down, to sleep and rest, remaining always slightly hyperactive all the time, inclusively during the sleep. So the result of this process is exhaustion, which is due to the yin consumption. The yin is the energy of cold and calmness, relaxing, recovering. So, and also it's the yin that generates the yang. The yang is the energy for activity. So if I empty the yin, it's not going to generate yang. I'm not just referring to a general feeling of tiredness, even because during the emptying process you might not feel that. You might not feel that it's emptying, that something is emptying, that something is getting drained. But and even also at the level of the internal organs. For a while you don't feel nothing. For a while you don't feel nothing. So what goes is that they lose a lot of their ability. The organs lose a lot of the capacity to function, to play their role well, and they lose effectiveness in their functions. Empty yin is a syndrome that is highly valued in Chinese medicine, and it's even very common, unfortunately. The Western medicine does not value or even admit that this exists eventually, and they prefer to consider a number of diseases that exist this way only under the Western concept. So even the conventional medicine doesn't work the same way in Eastern side of the world. In traditional Chinese medicine, it's considered that the yin, the emptying yin process takes in average between 3 to 5 years to get installed. Obviously, it can be less or more depending on many variables on each case, which makes the cases always different. But I repeat, it's an average of 3 to 5 years. As the emptying process progresses and the yin energy, which is the rest and cold capacity, the capacity to chill, to get everything cool, decreases, the heat increases, the heat goes high, and consequently the water is consumed and starts to decrease because the yang consumes the yin. Is like the sun, the heat of the sun drying the rivers, draining the rivers, consuming the water. So in this specific case, the heat that increases is, like I said, it consumes the water, but also consumes the energy, the capacity to rebuild. When this process lasts for 3 or 5 years, the water level inside the body starts to get low for a long time. So it's chronical now. From this point of view, in each situation where the heat increases, the mast cells start to degranulate. So the histamine fulfills its role. This is very important. Histamine is an allergic mediator, is a neurotransmitter, but also has a role of compensator to compensate the lack of water by associating to the little quantity of water that the person has inside and redistributing the water in an equal way, with equality, over the body. The problem associated with this is that we no longer have water inside the body, but a mix of water plus histamine. This mix is placed on a very short deepness, on a sweating channel's deepness. So this mix starts to come out through the sweat channels. And when people start to sweating, it creates inflammation in the by getting in touch with the epidermic layers, itching, and the stings that people feel. In the case of cholinergic urticaria, the neurotransmitter acetylcholine is also associated with histamine, and it can be increased by a process that I will explain on other videos. But this is not the same histamine, because this mix of acetylcholine with histamine, it's placed and it delocates, it moves on a different deepness, which is the muscarinic receptors deepness, and it doesn't get in touch with the epidermic layer. So it's not this histamine associated with acetylcholine that creates the heat in cholinergic urticaria. So this process will be explained in my upcoming book in much more detailed way. So this explains the reason why the low water level creates and activates this emergency system in the body after a period of an average between 3 to 5 years. In my next video, I will explain the criteria that we need to have to use to choose an honest and competent acupuncturist, so it becomes possible to achieve the total healing of chronic urticaria. There are things to observe, to pay attention, and criteria to use when choosing a good and competent and honest acupuncturist, and there are key points, key words that we need to pay attention. I will explain that on my next video. So I hope you like this video, and please watch my other videos that appear on the suggestions. It's going to be very important for you to understand the entire process and what is urticaria for real. So please also, if you like the video, place a like on my videos and subscribe my YouTube channel, Chronic Urticaria, Traditional Chinese Medicine, Luis Monteiro, Urticaria. And follow my blog, www.chronicurticariacure.com. You can also contact me through my Instagram at Chronic Urticaria Cure, or through my blog. Below I leave the links so you can follow me. So until my next video, thank you all and stay safe.